What is phone banking in politics? It's a tool that you use to query and glean information from voters that you can use in a political campaign. If you want to know how that is done, stick around. I have plenty to share. In its basic form, phones are used to determine who is for you in a political campaign, who is undecided, and who is against you. That is their essential use, and we're going to do a deep dive into all of that in this video. All right, let's start with an overview, the helicopter view of how phones are used in political campaigns. It is one of several ways that candidates have two-way communication with voters. One, surveys. You can always send a survey to a voter and ask them to fill it out and ask them if they're for you or against you or undecided. You can also ask them what their issue priorities are. This is also done through text messaging, where you text somebody and ask them 2 or 3 questions. That can also be done via email, but phones are also used for this purpose. Poll takers all across the United States still use telephones to discern the attitudes of voters about political candidates and issues of our time. What are the advantages of phone? Well, like I mentioned, one of them is that you have two-way communication. It's easy to do from campaign headquarters. The phone calls can in fact be done from anywhere. And it's very useful when you get somebody on the phone, if you are pleasant in your conversation, to get them to give you information. The disadvantage is technology. This is what's happened. The disadvantage is, number one, only a minority of people in the United States have a landline anymore. And they do have a cell phone, but it's sometimes hard to find a cell phone number. And when you do call them, if they don't know who is calling them, their cell phone announces that they have a call from an unknown caller. And quite often when people are busy, they let it go to voicemail and then they delete it. So it's becoming more difficult over time to reach people by telephones, but it is still a useful technology. So like I mentioned, it's one of several technologies that candidates use to get feedback from voters. Now let's turn to the information that you get from telephone calls and why it's useful and why it's done. Number one, it saves you money. If you find voters in your jurisdiction that you've contacted by phone who are for you, good. Now you know that you should make a Herculean effort to get that voter to the polls so that they can cast their ballot for you. If you find that a voter doesn't know your name or is undecided in this particular race, good. Now you know that that voter needs more information, a piece of mail or an email or a text message, more information about you so that they can make an informed choice. Well, let's suppose you call a person who says, "No, I am not for so-and-so. You cannot count on my vote." Well, good. Now you know never to spend another dime in advertising trying to reach that person because they're already gone. So fundamentally, what do phones do? They help you spend your money more efficiently so that you're targeting only the persuadables and only the people who are going to vote for you. Now, phones do have other uses besides canvassing and interacting with voters. I have received phone calls from candidates who have asked me for money. I've received phone calls from volunteers in a political campaign asking me if I could just spare $10 today. I know it's common now to use that in text messaging, but I'm going to tell you something. I had a candidate once who noticed that a text message that his campaign sent out got a $100 contribution from somebody. And he thought that was an unusually generous contribution that he got via a text message. So he asked his staff to give him the phone number of the person who had given him. They picked up the phone and called the donor who had given him $100, and he said, "I just want to thank you for responding to my text message and contributing that $100. He says, "Going forward, I'd like to know how I can earn more of your support and what you need to hear from me that would make you consider being even more generous to my campaign." And the donor says, "You know what? I so appreciate the fact that you picked up the phone and called me. Let me send you another $500 and we'll try and do that again next month." Why did the candidate do that? Well, number one, nobody ever gives money to a political candidate that they can afford to do without. People don't go bankrupt giving to political candidates. It's money that they can spare and choose to spare when they give to candidates. So when somebody gives $100 in a small dollar solicitation, pretty much guaranteed there's another $100 or $200 they could give if they were properly asked. That is an example of how phones are used to supplement small dollar fundraising or getting the initial donation from a group of people who are known to be donors. In fact, I've seen candidates talk donors out of thousands of dollars with a simple telephone call and saying just the right words. So that's another use for telephones. Another thing to consider when you are doing serious phone banking, you have a couple of options. One, and the cheapest, is to use volunteers. You've got to take the time to manage them. You've got to train them. You've got to make sure their demeanor is correct on the phone call. They have to be supervised. They need the software that goes in so that they can robo-dial certain numbers as they pop on the screen when they're finished with a call. It is an investment, and it does require training and software to do that. Campaigns that don't have enough volunteers quite often rely on call centers to do this for them. They do exist in the United States. There are phone facilities around the country that do live calls, that do text messaging for candidates. So pick your poison, either get volunteers to do it, or if you're in a big time campaign, you might want to consider hiring a call center to do this sort of thing for you. Oh, incidentally, if you're thinking of running for office, I have a free gift for you. It's called 12 Essential Steps to Prepare for a Political Campaign. It costs you a click on the link below. Go there, click it, get your copy. All this said about telephones, it is merely one tool that is part of a political campaign to have communication with voters, to canvass, to raise money. There are other tools that go into a political strategy. While this is fresh in your mind, I'm going to suggest that you watch another video. Title of it is, "What is a Political Campaign Strategy?" Grab a pen, go click on that link, watch it while all of this is fresh in your mind.